recently purchased the Mavic 3 Cine. I use drones in my business probably about 3 or 4 times a week at least, and so it was just natural that I was going to upgrade my Mavic 2 Pro to the Mavic 3 when it came out. What I didn't expect was the price tag. Holy shit. But either way, I'm really excited. It did just arrive, and so I will be able to compare this side by side with the Mavic 2 Pro. We still have another firmware update coming in January, but in the meantime, I need to get this thing unboxed. I'm not going to show you how to do the firmware update. This is geared towards a professional photographer and somebody who has used drones before. I have a feeling that most of my audience is already aware of how to do that, or there's probably a lot of you that don't even care. I don't have any affiliation with DJI. My YouTube channel is relatively small, so you can rest assured that there's no sponsorship or any incentive at all. So I will give you my honest opinion on this. So I am just dying to get this thing opened. Let's get that taken care of. I won't drag this out. I'm just going to get it opened up. If I have to, I'll speed up the footage a little bit. But either way, you're going to see everything that comes with this to help you in your decision if you're deciding between the Mavic 3 Pro or the Mavic 3 Cine. To me, it's worth it. It comes with everything I would buy anyways. So why not just get it from the manufacturer right out of the gates and not have to worry about it. But anyways, let's get to it. Well, one thing that's for sure is it smells great. Oh, that looks like, okay, so there's a zipper right here on the side. Looks like that's probably for like some quick access. I have something similar to this on my camera bag, but I am just literally looking for the other end of this bag. Oh, there it is, right in front of my freaking face. Okay, so let's see what we got in here. First thing is this box. All right, we got our manuals, quick start guide. None of this stuff really matters. I mean, it's all online these days anyways, so a lot of times I just reference online. Okay, this looks like it's the multi-battery charging unit. Slide that up a little bit. Okay, so we got that. What is this? Don't know what this is, but we have our filter set. Of course. And then it looks like we have another filter set here. Again, I'm not going to try to spend too much time on this because this is all over the internet already. But here we go with our another set of ND filters. Joysticks for the controller. Okay, so that box is done. Let's see what is next. Oh, of course, the drone itself. Now, I've seen this done a few times on a few. Oh wow, we've already got props on the drone. So these are just extra props. And let's see how we open this up. All right, okay, so that's really easy to pop off there. I like that. That does feel really nice. Feels well built. Just like the bag itself. The bag feels great. And it's great to have this to hold the props together, because one thing about the Mavic 2 Pro is that I would leave the props attached like this, and I would be pulling it in and out of my bag, and they would get caught on the bag itself, and you don't want to be bending your props in any way. So, but to get a more closer look at that, that is just, it looks like the side mirror of like an F-150 or something like that. It's just a very unusual looking lens, but I can't wait to test it out, to be honest. So Let's just see. I've heard some people say it does feel a little cheap when you unfold the arms, and I'm gonna agree with them wholeheartedly. It doesn't feel like an issue or anything, but to anybody out there saying that this probably won't handle in a crash very well is probably correct. I would just have to agree with that. It does feel a little flimsy around here, but maybe that's by design. All right, so now we're getting into the controller itself and the additional batteries. So I'll just slide this aside for the controller. So that is gorgeous. So now I guess we'll just insert those joysticks in there. That, you know, it feels really good in the hand. It does. It feels a lot more comfortable than the Mavic 2 controller with the cell phone attached to it. Okay, and on to the next. Got the additional batteries. I believe it comes with 3 total. I think there's one already. Yeah, there is a battery already inserted in the back of the drone. I can show you that here. So that's kind of cool. Okay, so we've got our additional batteries. I'll get these opened up. I gotta charge these up anyways. All right, I think that might actually be everything. Okay, the batteries are charged, the firmware is up to date, the drone is ready to go. So I'm gonna head outside, follow my buddy who just picked up an electric skateboard, and I'm gonna see how well this drone maneuvers through obstacles with the obstacle avoidance, and really put that to the test. After that, I do plan on heading down to the beach to see how well it performs in low light. Right now I'm gonna be using the filters because it is pretty bright outside, but tonight we'll really get an opportunity to see how it works from sunset all the way to total darkness. And the area I'm going to isn't really lit that well with city lights. It's, you know, right on the coast, so it's a suburban area, but we'll really get to see how well it can do in the low light conditions. All right, and unless I want to miss that sunset, I better get outside and get going. Wow, the display looks insane. Okay, so I have to say that was exciting. The drone handles like a dream. It's
Definitely a noticeable difference from the Mavic 2. I really noticed that the ability for it to ascend and descend really quickly, and the approaches too, like when you're coming in for a landing, really smooth. Especially when you engage it, like let's say you're starting or ending a turn. I found that the beginning and ending of the turns were quite a bit smoother than what I experienced with the Mavic 2 Pro. And I think that that's a huge benefit. It's come a long way. It really has, especially when you put into perspective that just 5 years ago, this was one of the latest and greatest prosumer drones at the time with no collision avoidance. What was pretty cool about this was the built-in camera and the 4K ability as well. But so in less than a decade, we've gone from drones that used to fly away with your favorite GoPro to now something that you can pack up, carry along with you anywhere you go, or at least anywhere you would take a camera. It's very easy to just put this right in your pack with everything else, get professional quality video, professional quality photos. I'd argue this is more geared towards the professional. There's quite a few things that come with it that even I don't need, but you as a consumer or a hobbyist will definitely not need. I mean, there's definitely an excess amount of ND filters. As a professional, I already have a camera bag. It's a nice bag, you know, but to be honest, I am budgeted pretty tightly and I would have rather saved the money. Do I feel like I've wasted my money? No, I've bought filter packs in the past from Polar Pro, and I'll be honest, it's usually like 1 or 2 filters that I use the most. The rest just kind of sit there and gather dust. So it's expected in a way, but so yeah, I probably won't use everything I've gotten with this, but I definitely don't feel like I've wasted my money. Yes, I would have loved to have a different version where I didn't have to buy all that extra stuff. But ultimately, what I bought this for was, you know, the reliability of the collision avoidance, which I could have gotten with the other one. But the reason why I went with the Cine was that because I do this as a business, because this is my day-to-day job, I like the opportunity that the Apple ProRes provides for me. It definitely opens up quite a bit more opportunity for me as someone who produces content versus somebody who just wants to take videos or pictures of them snowboarding, you know. So if this was just a hobby for me, yeah, I don't think I could justify buying the Cine. I would hold on to my Mavic 2 Pro and wait for a different package to be available. Another thing that I really like about this is I like the consistency and the quality of the connection. I don't need 10 miles of range. I didn't buy the controller for that. But I do need that first mile or maybe even 2 to be rock solid and never ever give me trouble. Probably my single most favorite new feature is the collision avoidance system. It really fills the gap that was left by the Mavic 2 Pro. I was really excited about the Mavic 2 when it came out, that it had collision avoidance, and it gave me an extra level of confidence to go after some shots that maybe I normally wouldn't. In fact, it's so intelligent that compared to the Mavic 2, it really does make the Mavic 2 Pro's collision avoidance seem dumb. What would have happened before is that I would have been trying to keep up with my subject, and as soon as the collision avoidance would have came across a branch or anything like that, it would have stopped dead in its tracks and killed the shot. Okay, so it would have definitely either left you with a shorter clip than you probably originally wanted, or it might just entirely ruin your shot. So what a lot of people ended up doing was just turning it off so that they could get their shots done. And that led to a lot of crashes. And what I really like about the collision avoidance on the Mavic 3 is that you can get lined up with your subject, and like I said, you know, I had a canopy of trees all around me. I'm lined up with my subject, and while I'm pushing through, as it started to approach a branch, instead of just stopping and killing the shot, it very smoothly anticipated the branch and moved out of the way and took the most efficient path that it could find to stay on track and keep moving forward. So literally what you can do is you can literally just push through. And if there's a path that you can see, your drone's gonna find it and it's gonna push through with you. It still looks smooth, it still looks cinematic. Where, you know, with the Mavic 2, I really struggled with that. If you wanted to get that cinematic shot, you had to risk the drone, which also required you to basically take your eyes off the screen the entire time in those really tight areas and just hope that you got the shot, hope that it's in focus, hope that something's not overexposed, because you really had to just set up your camera, kind of memorize your shot, and then do it out of muscle memory while making sure you don't crash into anything. So really happy about the collision avoidance. My only real complaint about the collision avoidance is something that can be updated really easily in a firmware update. But it has to do with the way it notifies you when it's active and when it's not active. I would like something a little bit more attention grabbing than the current method. I'm always flying during golden hour. That means that I'm going to be flying a lot in low light. So that means when I'm shooting a sunset, I'm going to start out with full light. Collision avoidance is going to be active, but at some point in my flight, it's going to turn off. And it did that to me a few times and I didn't even notice it. I don't seem to recall too much going on the controller other than that the tiny icon that indicates you have, whether it's active or not, will be red when you don't have collision avoidance. Also, the drone stops. It basically forces you to put the joysticks at 0 and then restart, acknowledging that you're aware collision avoidance isn't there. I'd say normally that's great, but if you're in a situation where the light is changing constantly and you're going to be going back and forth with your shot, you may not notice that it stopped. It's possible that it could stop at the same time you would stop and you might not notice that. And the only reason why I say that is because it happened to me. And I'm pretty lucky I didn't crash into something, because for a while I thought that the collision avoidance was active and it wasn't. So that's something you're going to want to pay attention regardless of which model you get. And that's going to be something that I think is a problem for both models. Other than that, I mean, if you're flying with prudence and you're flying the way you're supposed to, it really shouldn't be a problem. And you've got all this extra battery life, so you can really plan out your shots and really walk around and see it from different angles if you need to. But when you pay top dollar for a drone, you do expect that on occasion, if you do need to just grab the shot, you know, like something is happening that is not going to be happening a few seconds from now and you just got to grab the shot, sometimes you just want to be able to rely on the machine and trust it so you can focus entirely on nailing your shot. So that's my only complaint really with the collision avoidance is I want a little bit more of a proactive notification. Maybe not as proactive as when the battery's about to die, but you know, like a subtle beep or a vibration, just so that in the back of my mind, I'll be reminded that the collision avoidance is actually off, in case I get too focused on the shot or caught up in the moment and forget that it just turned off. So, do I think it's worth the price? Honestly, it depends on who you ask. And that seems like a total cop-out, but hear me out for a second. This drone is definitely not for everybody. You certainly can't justify this as a consumer in the form it is, unless you've got the money. I mean, if you have the money to blow on this and you want to just get all the bells and whistles, you don't want to have to think about what gear to buy, you can go out and buy this, and certainly it would be a great start if that's what you want to do. But you certainly don't need to. You can do just fine with the Mavic 2 Pro. And if I weren't running a business centered around drone photography and video, I probably wouldn't have bought this drone. I would have waited for another option that comes with the controller and maybe less accessories. I'm really looking forward to the updates coming in January. I'm certainly going to do a follow-up video around that time and do a full long-term review, probably about the same time. But either way, I really look forward to using this drone a lot more, creating a lot more content with it, and I will be sharing that on my channel regularly between now and then. But definitely look forward to some hyperlapse videos and some other stuff, and as I do a long-term review when the updates come out in January. Okay, so my final thoughts on this drone are, again, it's not for everyone. It's not even for every professional. However, I think if you are a professional and you do rely on drones to make money, this is kind of a no-brainer. It unlocks quite a bit of opportunity for you in the fact that it comes built with Apple ProRes and the 1 terabyte SSD. The range is great. That's great for safety, which is really important if you're gonna be operating on a set or in that type of environment, along with the collision avoidance. However, you can get the collision avoidance with the lower model of the Mavic 3 and do just fine. That's where the business aspect comes in. If you have commercial applications, if you're making money off your photography, then by all means, you know, I highly recommend this drone, the Mavic 3 Cine. If you're doing this as a hobby for your Instagram or you just really enjoy it, you're gonna have just as much fun and you're gonna get so much more value if you save the money and go for the Mavic 3 Pro. It's really hard, you know, parting with this controller in that scenario, but ultimately, that's not what makes the drone great. The controller is the cherry on top, okay? I don't need 10 miles of range, but I do need solid connection for work. And as a hobbyist, maybe it's not such a big deal if I miss the shot, okay? So no, I don't recommend it for everyone, but I certainly do recommend it. I think it's a great drone. It performs really well, and I'm thoroughly pleased with it. And one thing I do need to mention that I have done since the first recording of this video was I mentioned I am not affiliated with DJI. That is still true. I paid full price for this drone. I bought it myself. They have no clue who I am. However, I am registered online with DJI, and I just enrolled in the affiliate program. I have yet to make a single sale. I literally just enrolled. This doesn't affect my review in any way, but I thought it's just another way I can add value for you all. If you decide to buy any DJI products, I do have a coupon code or link down in the description below that I will include, so be sure to use that if you do plan on picking up this drone or any other DJI products. Again, they did not pay me anything to say this. I haven't even looked into the benefits of the affiliate program yet. I assume there's some kind of monetary compensation for it, but I have yet to earn anything. So again, I really appreciate your support. If you have not subscribed to this channel already, I hope you would consider subscribing by hitting that red button down below and hitting the notification bell so that you do not miss the follow-up to this initial review when the updates come out in just a little bit over a month now. So definitely hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, hit those likes, and I will see you in the next video. All right, so I have okay, so the drone's up to date, the batteries are charged, and I'm about to put it in the air for the first time. And this guy was kind of demanding to be in this scene, so I thought I'd bring him along.